Yeah, again, another horseshit performance from Manchester United. Really, really poor again tonight, losing 2-1 away at Valencia. Lately, we've had a few draws. Okay, the victory against Fulham at the weekend was a decent performance, but before that, some poor results in terms of draws. But we haven't been losing too many games lately, besides the Man City game. But today, we have lost and thoroughly deserved to lose. That was absolutely atrocious from Manchester United. Fucking dog shit. It really was. And 2-1 in the end was a good scoreline for Manchester United, I think, because it could have been at least 3 or 4-0, to be honest. That was so poor from Manchester United. We did have a couple of late shots from long range, but very, very poor. Nothing to shout about at all. I just don't know where the season's going. I mean, the season is practically dead, and it's not even been Christmas yet. There's just nothing good to look forward to in the new year for the remainder of the season. Manchester United are not going to win anything. We're not going to change the top 4. Nothing. And it's just atrocious. Manchester United are going to keep this guy in charge till Champions League football is impossible next season. And I just don't understand the point. These players are not playing for the guy. I think it's 1 or 2 wins in about our last 7 games against Young Boys and Fulham, who are 2 dog shit sides. I mean, that team on paper should be good enough to at least give this poor Valencia team, who are struggling to score goals, a game. We should actually be giving them a real run for their money, and we haven't done that tonight. 2-1 looks a close game, but the game, if you watch the game, if you haven't watched the game, you would think a close game. We've lost 2-1, we've pulled a goal back. Valencia may have been the better side, but no, Valencia were far the better team. Not just the better team, we're the far better team than Manchester United. And yes, we've got issues in this team. Some really poor performances out there again tonight. Lukaku was poor. Paul Pogba was poor. There were some really other poor performances. I mean, Fellaini playing in defensive midfield. I mean, the tactics were just completely wrong from Jose Mourinho. The hell's he doing there? I just don't think that was not a game where you utilise Fellaini in defensive midfield for me. I just don't think so. If you're going to play Fellaini to his strengths. It's just long ball. It's all long ball. And to be honest, I think Fellaini shouldn't even be at Manchester United. But that's beside the point. He's not playing to his strengths. And again, Rojo. I think Rojo shouldn't be playing at left back. Personally, I think he's better at centre back, and he was very, very poor this evening. Okay, maybe he would have been poor at centre back, but I just don't think he's good enough at left back. I can understand why Jose Mourinho put him in there because of the lack of options we've got available due to, I presume, a number of injuries, the likes of Darmian. I would prefer to have seen Darmian probably there in the defence over Rojo at full back, but Darmian's apparently, I presume, injured, Shaw's injured, Delow's injured, so I can understand that, but I personally wouldn't have even bothered bringing Ashley Young on in the second half because, to be honest, this was as good as dead rubber for me, this game, and I'm just annoyed with the way these players have gone out there and performed, because half of them aren't performing for the manager, even though the tactics are wrong and everything else, and some of the players aren't good enough, but the players aren't performing for the manager at all, and some of these players probably are playing for their Manchester United futures, whether it's not going to be under Jose Mourinho, because he will be fired in the new year sometime when Champions League football becomes impossible. That's when Manchester United will fire him, so the new manager will then get rid of some of these players next season. A lot of these players, the likes of Phil Jones, who's just not good enough, will go. Obviously Fellaini will probably go, Rojo probably will go, Valencia will go as well. Also, I didn't think Pereira had a great game today for Manchester United. I would have preferred to have seen him more in a midfield role rather than, I mean, you only really had Lukaku as the attacking outlet for Manchester United, which was, I just think, bizarre for Manchester United. I mean, you've got some really good attacking players. I mean, we've taken Mason Greenwood with us and we haven't even utilised him. I mean, what is the point in even taking the guy? He was only along the substitutes because Scott McTominay wasn't even, well, I think he must have got injured in the warm-up or in the training session, I don't know, because he was going to be the man to be the other substitute, I presume. And it's just atrocious. I mean, okay, some people will say Mason Greenwood's only 17, but Christ, you're playing one attacking player up front, really. I mean, okay, you've got Juan Mata there as well, but he's not really an attacking player like a Mason Greenwood or a Lukaku, and you just didn't really have anything else up front. I mean, I know Lukaku was absolutely atrocious again today, but he didn't really have any support from because obviously you've got Juan Mata and Andreas Pereira, who are really the attacking talent that Manchester United have of sort of a Marcus Rashford or someone else up front like that, or Anthony Martial, and we didn't have that up front today at all. And I think Mason Greenwood, who has been playing so well for the under 18s, 19s, and even the under 23s, would have just offered Manchester United a lot more up front. I mean, some of his skills are just so good. He breezes past players. He's such a great dribbler on the ball, and can finish. He's such a good finisher. Mason Greenwood scored so many goals this season, created goals as well, and could have just given Manchester United that spark maybe in the final third that Manchester United needed, even though the midfield was really poor as well. But who knows? He was the unknown, but he didn't even get onto the pitch. Second half, I mean, Jose Mourinho bringing. I mean, it was predictable to me, the substitutions. Obviously, I didn't know Ashley Young was going to come straight on in the second half, but after that, I thought to myself, Rashford will be the next one, and then it will be Lingard the following one, and I was right. So predictable. Jose Mourinho using them two tried and tested players just to try and get back in the game. Didn't bother to try and go for youth and just give some excitement to the fans, and maybe some unknown, show a few skills off Mason Greenwood. Maybe excite the fans, show something for the future, but he didn't want to in a dead rubber game. Anyway, really pissed off with the performance, to be honest. I mean, I can't be asked with the result because it meant nothing to Manchester United, because we're not even going to get past the last 16. Even if Manchester United won the group, we'd probably have gone out, because this group has been an absolute joke for Manchester United. It's been absolute dog shit teams. And although Juventus are a decent team, then to be honest, I'm not sure if they're going to go and win the tournament, you know. And Valencia, absolute dog shit, and Young Boys, absolute dog shit. Manchester United should have got through this group with absolute ease, and we struggled like mad to get through the group and played absolutely horrendous in every game. And I don't even know if we deserve to go through the group, to be honest. I mean, Valencia over the two games were far better than Manchester United. I mean, they got the draw at Old Trafford and they've played us off the park this evening. So, to be honest, I think Manchester United are a bit fortunate to go through this group with how poorly we played in the group. I mean, that away game against Young Boys 3-0 was probably about the only okay performance we had in the group. All the other games were absolutely atrocious. Just really poor. I think if we'd had a harder group like Liverpool were in or Spurs were in, I think Manchester United would have been struggling to qualify for the next round. I really do. And I don't think they probably would have done. And it's all that Manchester United deserve, because we'll probably get into the next round and get hammered if we get a Barcelona or someone like that, because the likes of Lionel Messi, Suarez and Dembele and all them, Coutinho and that, will tear Manchester United to pieces if we play like that. They will fucking rip the shit out of this Manchester United team. And even if we get PSG or someone, the likes of Mbappe and Cavani and Neymar will rip the shit out of this team, because this team is fucking dog shit. Some of these players want to take a long hard look at themselves in the mirror, because some of them aren't even playing for the manager, I mean, the manager does have to go. Yes, he does. He's not getting the best out of these players. The players aren't listening to him, and I don't know what they're doing on the training ground, because they don't even look like they know what they're doing, half these players. But some of these players have got to step up and show that they want to play for Manchester United, because a new manager will be coming in a few months, probably 4 or 5 months. We'll have a new manager getting ready to come in the door, and Manchester United players are going to have to step up, start performing for a new guy, because we're going to have to try and get back into this Champions League again. We're going to be in the Europa League again next year, and it's going to be a long, hard road to get back to success. We've hired two great successful managers in Louis van Gaal and Jose Mourinho. Neither of them have been able to turn this around at Manchester United. So I just do not know where we go. I don't know who we're going to employ. I know it will probably be Carrick or McKenna till the end of the season, when the Champions League football is impossible, and we'll just have to see what happens. The only excitement you can think of is if McKenna took over, could Manchester United see a few youngsters given the opportunity when there's a lot of dead rubbers at the end of the season? We hope so. That's all we can hope for, because there's nothing else to look forward to this season. We'll get past probably Reading in the FA Cup and get knocked out of that, and there's not even any hope of qualifying for the Champions League next season. 4th position is just too far off. So anyway, that's my thoughts. I don't know what else to say on this. I mean, Manchester United just need to clear a lot of this deadwood out that is in this squad. I mean, this team should have been good enough to, as I say, at least match this Valencia team this evening. But some of these players shouldn't even still be at Manchester United. The likes of Phil Jones, and obviously Antonio Valencia, Ashley Young, Marouane Fellaini, these sort of players shouldn't even actually be at Manchester United anymore. And I'm sorry that falls on Van Gaal and on Jose Mourinho, because these managers have hung on to some of these players far too long. And certainly Mourinho's got to take the big can of the blame for that, because the likes of Fellaini, okay, Fellaini's okay off the bench, utilise him as he is, long ball, last 10 minutes, but the likes of Ashley Young and Antonio Valencia just not good enough at fullback, and Phil Jones not good enough at centre half, and they've been here far too long. It's going to be knocking on a decade or more soon. So these players are going to play for Manchester United, and none of these players will get near these Manchester City teams, these Liverpool teams and Tottenham teams, and they would never have got anywhere near Manchester United teams of yesteryear. Just not good enough for Manchester United. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on the game. We move on to Sunday against Liverpool, where we probably have no chance, but who knows, maybe we'll nick a draw out of it. Never ever know, stranger things have happened. Anyway, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll talk to you all again soon. See ya.